think you're good. Never been a problem before, so fuck them all.
Give me a sip.
A sip?
Yeah.
You simp. Well.
Sweating my day while I'm chilling in the shack and shining the light in my face.
Or what? Witch King Kitchen, you are first. I started early. 2 of your friends are live. Invite them to go live together. What? Who dat? Sebastian, Derek. They'll both end up over here, I'm sure. How you doing there, Witch King? Where are you? Or where are you from? What's going on? I think you're the first one here. I can't really see. It's like white on white. There we go. Okay, we got a couple people here. User Debbie2, how are you? Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans. I am early. I said I was going to go on at 2, but if you don't know Uncle Birch, one thing you should know about Uncle Birch, I am never late. I'm usually early. Aunt Katie, how are you? You're in the UK. Okay, right on. April, how are you? Auntie Katie. Okay, I already said hi to you. Hey, Auntie Katie, how are you? April's already liking the live. Yeah, start liking the live. Because we may have some controversial subjects that'll come up, and I have found statistically if we get more likes, the haters have to hate harder to take the live video down. Andy, how are you? Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans. I'm about 10 minutes early from the scheduled broadcast, which will be at 2, so more people jumping in at 2 probably, but so get in there now if you got questions or something. If you don't want to get lost in the shuffle, hey, say something. Doing good, glad to see you today. I'm doing good too. It's like 80s, something, upper 80s, New Orleans, overcast, had a little sprinkle. It's nice for this time of year in New Orleans. 80 something is great.
Oh my God, it's the best day ever.
Yay, finally caught my live. Well, I actually, scheduled it ahead of time, so maybe that helped. I don't know if you saw that, but usually I never really know when I'm going to go live. I just kind of get the urge. Iris, how are you?
I've got 87.
You got 87 degrees. Feels like?
94.
94. My Life with Brian. That's a great name, by the way. Follow the shoe. Follow the gourd. Feels nice, but I'm flying out today. Oh, you're flying out. Where are you going? Can you explain the purple cone of power and how to do it? Well, it's like a whole lot of ways that we do things. It's a visualization. You visualize roots going down to the core of the earth. You get really conscious of your breathing, and when you get to the earth's core, you draw up the white light, going to the other LA. You draw up the white light, which is the raw energy that the earth uses to create everything. And then once it comes up through you as white light, this is all a visualization process, and you're breathing. Typically, I always teach that you inhale 3 seconds and pull it up. Then you exhale and you push it up your roots. Inhale, pull it. Exhale, push it. And eventually it establishes a flow. And the energy starts just flowing up your roots. Now, we want this to be white light. Not that I'm a white lighter. It's raw energy. It has no purpose yet. But then when it leaves our hands, it changes color. Now, typically, I would do a cone of power in a group. And In a group setting, the ritual would be right hand up, left hand down. As normally, left hand would be the receiving hand, but in a circle setting, right hand is receiving from the person next to you because you're holding hands. And so the first person is going to bring the energy up through their body, and when it comes out their hands, they're going to visualize it as purple. And then that purple light's going to flow into the next hands, through the next person, and you make a ring through all of the people. Now, if you're doing this as one person, I suppose you put one right hand up, left hand down, and just, throw this out as a ring. And then you visualize the ring going down to the floor and going up like this, becoming a wall. And then slowly, you're visualizing it, you're pulling up more power, you're sending out more power, and you're eventually sending it straight up. Now, eventually, some people will launch it the rest of the way up to where it becomes a cone with something sealing the top. Now, that's the variation. Some people are going to do the moon. I was taught the middle star of Orion's belt. That's where I send the cone of power. So it's a visualization process and a breathing process. But you asked specifically about the purple cone of power. In my day, the purple cone of power was for invoking Hecate. Period. It's her color. She loves it. But purple is a color of power, so other people may use it for different things. If I was calling up the purple cone of power, it would be to invoke Hecate. Hey, Uncle, how's Marta? How's Marta?
Great.
Great! Hopefully you can hear our neighbors deciding to do yard work right now. Loud machines, so hopefully you hear me, or worst come to worst, I'll put the damn microphone in. And somebody else saying, hey, Marta.
Yay!
In your opinion, what's the best way to get somebody to want to leave a relationship? Be a total asshole and bitch about stuff all day, every day? Oh, you're talking magically? Oh. Maybe a hot foot powder. Hot foot powder might be good for that. A bend over could be good for that too. Hot foot powder tends to agitate people. Me, I do so few people actually use the broom for their magic, but they have one. Typically, the broom should be behind the front door with the bristles facing up. And we would do a thing where we would write the person's name, maybe in Dragon's Blood ink, maybe get their picture off of Facebook or their social media, something like that. We're going to burn the name, burn the picture, turn it into ashes, pour the ashes on our damn floor, or the floor of the place where we want them to leave. And then sweeping, which is witch sweeping is a down up, a down up. It's kind of hard for me to, demonstrate it without an actual broom, but there's a down sweep and then up, you're kind of flipping it up, sweeping it towards the door. You sweep those ashes, all of them, make sure you get them all out, kids. Out the door, down the steps. My house, to the gutter. You don't want to leave them on your steps. When you get that person sleeping on your damn steps, you don't want that. The gutter. Sweep into the gutter, go get another. And then we bring the broom back inside. Flip it bristles up, tap it 3 times on the handle, telling exactly where you want that person to go and how you want them to stay away. Now, though, for the uninitiated, we only want to use positive terminology with magical language. In other words, we don't ever use the words don't, no, neither, nor, not, any negative terminology, because the subconscious mind from which magic comes does not recognize that linguistical twist. So it deletes the negative word. So in that, and being that that idea has existed in witchcraft way before Wicca existed, Wicca's Wiccan Reed is all fucked up magically. And any harm none, do what thou will. None. None is a negative. In that idea, which existed before Wicca, maybe Gardner didn't come across that when he came up with that, none gets deleted. So the witch mind heard you say, and at harm, do what you will. I mean, it's nice that they're trying not to harm, but a simple twist of ignorance can cause a lot of harm, basically. Tata Eric, salam alaikum, how are you? Oh, we are actually in the broadcast now. I jumped on like 10 minutes early. Got a lot going on in here. We're going to see if we can get people up in the box for whatever's going on. There's always so much drama going on. But I had a friend of mine, scholarly lass, Ellie Barnes, and she was on our podcast one time. And she talked about the cunning folk. Oh, thank you for whatever the hell that was on my head. The cunning folk. That's like, that reference, way before Wicca, maybe around the same time as hoodoo, conjure, all that stuff. Even back before some of those cultures arrived here, there was the cunning folk. And she talked about how the cunning folk were always at each other's heels, fighting, casting magics at each other, what we would call witch wars. It seems it's always been that way. It still doesn't mean that it should, and that we shouldn't try, not to be that way. But unfortunately, it's not a new invention. In my day, back in the early 80s, well, we believed that 9 million people died in the burning times. And a lot of people died in the burning times. And then, they weren't burned everywhere. It tended to be really popular in Scotland and some other places, but there's way worse ways that they did to witches. That did happen, but the numbers were inflated. The numbers were inflated probably by Gardner. I don't know who first came up with that number. But somehow, that recognizing an exterior group that was bent on our demise kept a lot of that shit at bay. Unfortunately, for a group to have cohesion and be us, there must be a them. It's unfortunate. Now, I'm not trying to be a cult leader, but that's what cult leaders do too. But that's because cult leaders know how to lead. Unfortunately, they lead people in a bad direction. But it is human psychology. You can't have an us without a them. And a leader, let's say like a leader of a coven, if they, or any group really, if they don't designate a them, not necessarily have to be an enemy, it just could be a group that you strive against trying to be better than them, your competition in business, what have you. If the leader does not define them will appear in us, in the group. And then you have witch wars within covens. You have wars within businesses and other relationships. The us-them dichotomy, as fucked up as it is a necessary human equation. And without it, you don't have cohesion. And you definitely don't have solidarity. So when witchcraft recognized a universal them that was out to get us, this stuff didn't happen as often. These witch wars, these strifes. In my day, we ran into somebody wearing a pentacle. You were friends immediately until someday maybe they give you a reason not to be friends. But we had this solidarity because we recognized, similar to the Jews, we had been kicked around throughout history and hated wherever we were and persecuted. And Still to this day, it's a bad word. It's a bad word in a lot of places. You don't call yourself a witch. Hey, Orams, how are you? Jaden Portland, what's up? Is the witch formerly known as Man Witch here? I don't know. I haven't been looking. I've just been yapping. I haven't been paying attention for a few, but oh, Man. Oh no no. I don't know what happened. Man Witch. We were in business together. He had some stuff happen in his personal life, and then just bailed out of the business. That's why I don't have a online store right now. I'm still wondering, if I'm, how I'm going to do that. But just kind of dropped out of the universe. I text him every so often to see how he's doing, but I don't know. Hopefully he didn't become like born again or something. Candy's here, I guess. Hey, Candy.
Hey,
no,
Candy.
There's Candy. All right, so anyway, if people want to jump in the box, let's jump in the box, see what's going on in our communities. My latest thing has been this Aramid Sage. If anybody knows Aramid Sage, well, she's got me blocked, but if she wants to unblock me and get in the box, we can get in the box, because I was told or asked by several people, hi, uncle and wife.
Uncle and wife.
I was told or asked by several people if I did a live where I was talking about Aramid Sage and how she mass reported me. I of course didn't do that because I don't know who that is. I did see a video about somebody that mass reported me, Witchfoot, Bree, and Celtic Hex or Kaz, but I thought that was ASM. Apparently I didn't follow it close enough. Has she blocked or taken down her account? No, I was able to see her account from another account, so I know it's the account is there. You're not a troublemaker. Well, sometimes I am. I do make trouble for the right reasons. My union card still says to this day, under the Industrial Workers of the World 602 Communications Division, my job is agitator. And just agitating in different venues. Hey, Astro Strega. So there's that going on. I don't understand that. And then I guess somebody docked Aramid Sage, and then I had people ask, or doxed. And I had people ask me if I did that. I was like, I don't even know who this person is. People really have an overinflated sense of self-importance too many times in my life, because many people think that I give them a second thought, or I think about them in my off hours or something, and maybe I'm self-absorbed and family absorbed, but I don't give a fuck about any of those people. Very few people that are on my mind, except the people under my roof. Don't even spend enough time with friends, we should, hopefully we will more, but
we're going out more lately.
We are going out more lately. It is summertime in New Orleans, and summertime is when
everybody stays home.
when the locals take over the French Quarter. So we went into the French Quarter yesterday, ate at a place that we'd never eaten at before. It was almost empty. They were so happy to see us. They, the kitchen staff and it was a place where you went up and ordered at the bar, but then the bartender and the cook brought our food out to us, and we never finish it. We always bring it home and eat it later. So when it was time to come for the box, get a box. We just figured, most places just drop off a box. The bartender was helping me put it in the box. We had this whole team effort to put everything in the box, and so really good service when there's nobody else in place.
Yeah, they're looking for stuff to do.
Yeah. So that's when you see us in the French Quarter. It's gonna be like summertime, about this time of year.
Speakeasy.
Unless we're at the Speakeasy, which and that's one of the few times you're ever going to see us on Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
I've had several people say they came to New Orleans, kept walking up and down Bourbon Street, hoping they were going to run into Uncle Bertram. Well, locals don't hang out on
No.
Bourbon Street. What are you talking about? Let's see. I'm happy I'm moving my AC.
Somebody tried to sell me a bracelet yesterday.
Oh yeah, one of the Buddhist monks tried to sell Marta a bracelet. She ignored him.
I scoffed at him.
Scoffed at him. You cult bitch. How are ya? What should I strive to learn or do while lucid dreaming? I like to go around and get shit done. Invade subconsciouses, change minds, cause change, yeah. Where do the locals go? Well, normally, well, still, even August, French Quarter, we'll still be hanging to the French Quarter. I mean, in August, it'll mostly be witches from Hexfest taking over the French Quarter. Bree says hi.
Hey, Bree.
We're in Bywater. I like there's several really cool restaurants and bars all nearby.
There's parking.
There's parking. A lot of times, unless we're checking out someplace new, I like to stick close to home. We're gonna go to the Vampire Cafe for my birthday. It's the 20th, and that's in the quarter. So that's deep.
You gotta figure out my birthday. It'll be my 50th birthday.
I know, and then we gotta figure out where we're taking Marta the next month.
Fitty
Cent. Let's see. I was gonna go to sumo match in August, but it looks like I canceled. A sumo match, crazy. I was trying to say that I'm Manwich earlier. How have you been? Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute.
What?
Wait, you're jaded in Portland? You're Manwich? You know, bro, you could have sent me a text.
Manwich!
What's up? Well, hell, that's good to see you out here. That's if I got this right, that's who used to be Manwich 3. Had some good content. Matter of fact, that's how we ended up in business together. He was one of my students, and in the level 1 witch school course, which just launched for July. Follow my link tree under my profile, go to classes. You can still jump in all through the month of July. One of the things I teach in there is shopcraft and brewing techniques. And I ran across Manwich's channel, and I didn't even know he was my student, I think, at the time. But some of the stuff he was doing, I'm like, God, that's exactly how I would teach somebody to do that. And it turned out he was one of my students. He was doing it, for me to be in business and, do it through a shop, I need certain standards. And I was like, well, look at this guy. He's totally doing that shit. So we went into business for a while together. You teach too? Yes, I've been teaching for 43 years. But you get over there to gumroad.com/witch school. I have my year in a day course that just started in July. I have several other year in a day courses already going on. I have a bundled version of the year in a day course. It's cheaper, and you can binge watch it in like a week or two. Learn a whole year's worth of witchcraft, a week or two. And then an advanced class, it's also bundled. And I also have the first level and advanced bundled. Then there's Witchcraft Without Wicca. All of the Magical Warfare series. There's a lot on there. So you get over there to gumroad.com/witch school, which is, of course, WITCHSKEWL. Or the easy way, you just go into my profile, hit the link tree, hit classes, you're over there. And if you follow me over there, you get notified whenever I launch a new class. Kaliak, how are ya? All right, so that's me yapping. People want to get in the box. Got something to talk about. Stuff going on. What have you. I just apparently I got sucked into the aramid sage thing. I don't know that I'm really involved in that. But all right, well I'm following you now. Good to see you again. So you were asking about yourself, and then I went and just told your whole story to you. That's kind of ironic, awkward. Well, good to see you. Uh, let's see, Auntie Katie. Okay, thank you for liking. We're at 10,000 likes. Yeah, keep liking that stuff. So anybody wants to jump in the box? There's Kaz. Kaz was involved in this thing too. The latest thing,
Okay, I'm on
allegedly.
threads.
Okay, allegedly, somebody has a bot. Mass reported Kaz, Bree, Witchfoot, and me. That's a great group to be in. You know, we should just form a cyber coven with that group right there, man. So that's a great list to be on. But I remember seeing the video. I didn't even really get that it was Aramid Sage. I thought it was ASM. I wasn't really paying attention. It's just something that somebody sent me in the middle of the night, and probably had a few drinks and just played it and wasn't. It may have reposted because I think my repost is kind of automatic if I make a comment. But now apparently people are asking me if I've been going live talking about this Aramid Sage person who I don't fucking know. So clearly I haven't done that. And then and Kaz seems to know basically all the same stuff that I know, and hasn't made any more sense out of it than I have. So then apparently Aramid Sage got doxxed, and then I had people asking me if I doxed her. I'm going, ooh. And for me to dox you, I'd really have to give a fuck about your life for a brief second. There ain't too many people. You probably know if you are one of those people, and here's one right now. I would give a fuck about. Bree's coming on.
Yay, we give a fuck about
Bree's like working or something, so she wasn't gonna come on. Hey, Bree, out of jail.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey, Bree.
Hi. Okay, so I can't stay on very long, but I've been listening and I just wanted to jump on real quick. I will say this. I have the utmost respect for Celtic Hex and Armid Sage. I don't have anything bad to say about either one of them. The word I want to throw out there is pandering. There's people behind the scenes that are throwing videos our way in our DMs, and it's pandering, it's stirring the pot. So I'm not buying into it. I think Celtic Hex got hit a little bit harder because of, her recent account. So, I absolutely see why Celtic would be gun shy, but I personally don't think that it is Armid Sage. I think she's just a scapegoat. So that's my 2 cents.
Everything to me still screams ASM.
It does have that slimy energy to it, but I'm like you. I'm not gonna sit here. I gotta watch my words.
Yeah. Careful.
I don't want to go to jail
word.
again. I don't want to go to jail again. So
here comes Celtic Hex.
Boo.
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 No. Yeah, listen, fingers pointing everywhere. No proof of anything. Do you know what I mean? I'm not listening anymore. Come to me with proof or... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I said. I replied to it. I said, listen, there is no proof. But, you know what I mean? Go away. Leave me alone.
Let me ask you this question. Who sent you the video about Pyramid Sage doing the thing?
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
I'll say who sent it to me.
Okay.
Eclectically me, Sarah, sent it to me.
I don't talk to Eclectically Me. Someone else sent it to me.
Okay. Yeah, it's me too.
I know who sent it to you, but I'm not going to say.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know?
And, huh?
How do you know?
Had people tell me stuff all the time.
Ooh, you
Got that kind of faith,
sneaky witch, you. Yeah, it was listen, as I said, I pay no attention. Fingers pointing everywhere. Come with proof. But as I said, whoever does have the bots is a coward.
Yeah.
I stand by that. Whoever has the bots is a coward.
The person that sent the screenshot to you had their little logo tag on the screenshot, and I'm like, oh my goodness. That's how I know who sent it to you. I don't want to keep secrets from you.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at getting people in trouble. No, but they were only sending it to me looking out for me. They weren't starting crap or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and
otherwise I wouldn't have seen it.
Well, if Birch knew who it was, if he would have a total different take on the situation.
Well, I know the same person sent me who sent it to Bree. But then it just, Kaz has forever been butting heads with ASM. That would have to be my first suspect.
But do you know what? It more than likely is. Who knows who has the bots? Who knows how many people have bots? But at the end of the day, I lost my account. And everyone's like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm the victim. No, you're not. You didn't lose your account. Sit down. Shut up. Yeah. Not you, but
I lost another one too.
I know, you're always losing your bloody accounts.
Kind of used to it now. It's just part of the game.
But what I will say is the person, I did hear other things, and that is that there is a company you can go to that will take a person down, and all you need to do is say their name. So every time you mention the name, you will get mass reported by a bot, right? So you're best saying no names when we're talking about people. But that llama lookalike, more than likely, has bots,
Well, I looked it up, and you can get the software, and if you just watch the 10-minute YouTube video, it'll show you how to work it. You don't have to pay anybody for the bot. You can get the bot. I just wanted to know how it was done, but I'm not going to get a bot. If I was into mass reporting, I would at least do the fucking finger work.
Do you know what? They're sad to have to go that far. It's a social media app, and I think a lot of them need to go out and, sniff the flowers, touch grass, get laid, have a joint, get a life. Right?
That's all pagan. That's also pagan. Yes, do all those things. It's all about
but okay. It is. Everyone whose accounts got reported, and I did say that in private DM to people. I said if it was Armid and the other person, I personally can think of people that they would bot report before me. Now I've blocked Mr. James. I blocked Armid. I want nothing to do with the drama. I want nothing to do with them in any ways now. Okay. After a lot of stuff has come out. But I'm going to be honest, I can think of people that they would want to take down before me. And everyone who does get reported is not getting on with that llama lookalike, the dog walker, I will say.
Yeah, I don't even know who this Airmid Sage is. I know nothing of her work. I don't know why she would be mass reporting me, or I would be doxing her, or anything. Again, people have an overinflated sense of self-importance to think that I give a fuck about their lives in any way for any time whatsoever, unless I personally know them.
That's because their life is a social media app.
I mean, there are people I've come to know through the social media app. Like I know Bree.
Oh yeah.
I communicate with Bree. I consider her an actual person, where most of these other people, I just don't. I just you're a fucking face in a box on my fucking. I can swipe and you go away.
Right? That's what I'm like. Do you really think when I put my phone down, I fucking think about you? No. I have two teenagers. No.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
having fun. Go away. No, my phone goes down. Yous go away. Not yous, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm off doing
And
dad
they
shit. I
can't
don't
do
have
that.
time.
They can't do that. I don't go away. I'll come get you.
Well then, the F-15's coming by. F-16s, I'm not sure. There'll probably be another one in a second.
Hi, Babylons. No, but they do. They need to put the phone down. You know, these witches need to put the phone down and go out and touch green grass, smoke green grass, and lay naked in the green grass, because that's what they're all fucking missing. Let's be honest.
I
Go
think,
get laid, be happy.
one of the problems, and I think Uncle Birch has been on for a minute. He had his own podcast in another place, and I think some of us that have been online for a minute, it's kind of stemmed over Facebook, MySpace, the My Santeria stuff. Oh, okay, be
Stay
well,
back.
Bree. One of the things that I've noticed, that you get a lot of these young witches, these young pagans, these new santeros, these new paleros, all these people that supposedly have been in a practice for, I want to say, less than 5 years. They're now, all of a sudden, they are encyclopedias of knowledge. And these
Yeah.
encyclopedias of knowledge all of a sudden have never put in any work, have never been to a forum, have never been to a symposium. You've never seen their faces, at least my face. I've never done a pagan thing, right? But one time I was invited to the Pantheon that was done in the DoubleTree in California, and I was there. And
What
I was
year?
part of a symposium. We were talking about satanic rituals, and they invited me as an expert to talk about the Alfredo Costanzo situation with the Mark Kilroy situation with the satanic panic in the 80s. And I worked in media. I worked for Channel 2 for over 15 years. You know what I mean? On top of being a priest, and everybody in the channel, in the news, knowing that I was a priest. All my bosses knew I was a priest. Everybody knew that I was not a practicing Catholic or none of that. You know what I mean? And I went to the symposium, and it was fantastic. And I had a lot of fun, and it was great. I met a couple of people, people that now, I met, wow, who the hell I met Catherine Ironwood and her husband, Nagashiva, and I met quite a few people. And people that I know in the community, and people that have Olarisha crown, that even my godmother who lives in Sussex, you know what I mean? She lives in Sussex, Great Britain, and she gave me knife ceremony in Orisha. She's a child of Ochosi, She had been in all the pagan stuff and everything like that too. Her name is Sarah Lashes Jones. She was part of the BDSM community. She used to make whips and things, and had her own sex shop and all this stuff. And, so I see all these people that are non-consequential. Now, all of a sudden, they want to challenge everyone. It's like a challenge. So Uncle Birch says something in his practice that makes a lot of sense. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't know shit. It's like, dude, who the hell are you? Where did you come from?
Yeah.
What?
I gotta ask you, Tata,
Yeah, like what rock did you read too many? Did you read too many like Harry Potter books? Like, I love Harry Potter. My godson just went to the store.
Read all you want means shit. You need to practice as well.
so I gotta ask Eric.
Yeah.
I got to ask Eric a question. Do you remember what year that was? I'm trying to picture the last time Cat
Wow, that
Island
was
went to PantheaCon. That's
the
way back.
PantheaCon was like 2000. I want to say 2010,
Okay,
like 2010 to 2011.
Sasha, when I was pregnant.
yeah, we might have been there in 2010.
PantheaCon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
when I was pregnant.
Okay.
That was when we both went.
Yeah,
We stayed in the
around
room.
2010, 2011.
That was in
You know?
Yeah, those were good times. I didn't go to any workshops.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, and I was there. I was
didn't
there.
go
I
to the
remember
workshop,
I
but
was
we were
doing
there.
we were doing symposium about
We were there that
crime and satanic, you know. I even had a guy from the FBI that was sitting in the symposium pull me to the side afterwards and was like, "Hey, how did you know all this information?" And I was like, "Dude, I studied. This is we're talking about my religion. How am I not going to study about my stuff? You know what I mean? I've been defending Paulo all my life, you know?"
Yeah. Wow. So PantheaCon had
And so you get these people that don't talk. They don't know anything.
No. Well,
I
That
brought you
was
a
said
blast
to
from the
me.
past, Hunk.
yeah, you
That
did.
that
I mean,
was
we used
said
to,
to me.
Mike.
I got talking to someone from the other side, and they were like apologizing, and they said, "Listen, I am sorry that all these younger people come at you, and it is simply because you know more than them." And I went, "Oh, okay." Well,
Yeah.
you know, removing me, removing Uncle Bert, removing Eric, removing Bree Witch, removing Witchful isn't going to make you know more than us. You know, you're still not going to know as much
And
as
no
us.
less.
End of story. Because you need to invest the time into it. That's the it is.
You can't rush wisdom.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
take your
You can't
time.
be
That's
in
the
a
whole
hurry.
point.
Since
Yeah.
you hadn't left Camden by grade school, odds are you weren't leaving Camden at all. Okay, the way
Okay,
I
Magic
remember.
McCloud's got background audio. Turn your TV off. Or whatever that is.
Turn TV on.
Yeah, must be a radio.
It's my name is Earl. It's on there.
My name is Earl. Oh, that was a great show. Loved that
They
show.
do
Still
come
haven't
from a
been a
moralist
season.
standpoint. They absolutely do, Fenry. You're right. And that's the thing. Witchcraft doesn't have morals, and I'm sick of saying it. It doesn't. You can conduct yourself with morals. You
Hmm.
can conduct your craft the way you may like to, but don't apply that to witchcraft. It doesn't belong in it. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, a thing that I often say here in the States, when I have to go to court and defend my religious rights, I suddenly become Wiccan again because Wicca has that. Witchcraft does not. We have
Yeah.
Wicca is a federally recognized religion, and witchcraft is not. So,
Witchcraft is recognised as
Yeah.
a religion
And
in
you know,
Ireland. They didn't know where to put it, so they put it under religion. So we are protected under the freedom of religion. So they didn't know where to.
Ireland, okay. I don't think so here.
that's just like right now. That's just like right now. I've always said that Apollo has a lot of Native American roots in it, but it's hard to get a group of people to argue that point. To argue that point and actually create something where they can be federally protected. It's almost impossible to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, it's impossible to do it and get everybody to agree on the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, the
Just
thing that I
look at
piss
WitchTok.
most people off is
But
I will say something that somebody hasn't been taught, even though that they're a high muckety muck in some fucking tradition. And they get all mad at me that nobody ever taught them that. And I'm like, look, I ain't holding this over anybody's head. If you shut the fuck up, I'll teach you
listen
that.
and learn.
Just keep listening. I'll teach you
Yeah.
the damn thing. And then
Listen
you
and learn.
fucking know.
No other, because they don't know. They don't know that at no other time in history have so many people from so many parts been able to come together, interact, and share. And instead of using that to learn, they just want to, mine's better, whoosh, rip everything down.
Such a
What a
powerful
It's
waste of
also
energy.
the instant gratification. They
Yes.
want that straight away, so they'll learn something from you and then they'll go out and teach it, even though they haven't
Yeah.
mastered that
Yeah.
aspect.
That's
I
new to
remember
me.
the whole thing with poetic practices and people trying to mix Palo into it. And that's always been like this craziness, you know what I mean? And then you get these new guys that they get initiated and they get scratched by some crazy dude who needs some money and he cuts them, and then the next thing you know, they're mixing poetic magic with this and that and the other. And you know how many times I ran into that in New York where guys were conjuring stuff and they had to go call me, hey, I need help, and I got like this crazy spirit in my house. I don't even know how to get rid of it. Like just nonsense because people like to invent. And
I
they're like 2-3 years in this tradition, if that.
I personally think though it's more personal than that. That you are starting to get the like one way I was thinking about this is like when you associate money, what's the color you associate? Let's say you're doing a money spell.
Oh,
What you know, if you're from the east, you automatically think red. If you're from the western, you think green. You know, it's very personalized, and I think even with people delving into different practices, I think it's those are the practices that practitioner
Mhm.
needs to see and needs to understand. Sometimes it's gonna sometimes it's gonna
Yeah,
be horrible.
definitely.
well, and to Eric's point about the Goetia, there are forms of hoodoo that have been borrowing from that for a very long time. All of the keys of Solomon have been a hoodoo
Yeah.
standard in a lot of forms of hoodoo, and I have seen a lot of Palo practicing hoodoo in Palo, which it should be okay. Um, but it seems like some Palo, they don't learn that much Palo magic. So they're incorporating other African magics into their Palo.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I think like for instance, he was talking about money magic, right? In certain parts it's red, in certain parts it's green. In Palo, one of the things to attract money is actually snakeskin. Any form of snakeskin that's dried. They call it maha, and use it as makuto. And makuto is the word, a Taino word for meaning bag or mojo bag,
Mhm.
right? And so you get a makuto, you make it out of a snake skin, and you add ingredients to bring money, and that brings you money. So it just depends. There's all these avenues, right? And if everybody would just learn their avenue and respect each other's culture, then there wouldn't be this problem. When everybody wants to dip their hand in everything, it's not a fondue. It's not for me to be a palero and be like, oh, I'm going to go to Uncle Birch's practices where he's druidic or he's Appalachian folk magic or he's doing whatever it is. And then I go and he teaches me a few things and now I incorporate it into my practice. How am I respecting his beliefs? And how am I respecting his understanding of how he does his spirituality? You know, I think it's okay to borrow, you know, in the terms of borrowing for learning. But one thing is implementing it into your own practice that doesn't do that, you know? But
A
then you
lot.
got all these young cats that are doing all that stuff.
I've often said it's like a role playing game in a way. It's like your practice doesn't have it all. My
Cosplay
practice
images.
doesn't have it all. Yours
Magic the
don't.
Gathering.
Yours don't. Yours don't. The truth, the spiritual truth, is scattered between cultures, and we have to go on many quests and find many keys. And when we have the right keys, we can open the box of universal
Yeah,
mystery,
yeah.
knowledge of it all. But
Lies
we
in
are
between.
the,
Yeah.
i- the idea of the ancients was to scatter these ideas between cultures in hopes that we would all come together and share our knowledge and then have one, a true fucking knowledge. Unfortunately, I mean, the ancients were very wise, but they should have known something about human nature because we suck, and that didn't work out that way at all.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's
But
true.
would but would you
It's
not
true.
agree that a lot of the American folk magic is is the combination of many different cultures coming together.
All
You
folk
know?
magic is. Oh, yes. Well,
Yeah, but
that's
they kill each other over from someone outside of America. I look at the American people and they're like, you know, they have a combination, like you said, of their magic from intermarriage and things like that. But they're still ripping each other apart, going, no, that's ours, you can't use that. No, that's yours, you can't use that. And invalidating that practice that has evolved and come about. So it's the division that destroys that. Do you know what I mean?
well here in America. I
Mm-hmm.
always like to remind people of ghetto magic. All of our peasant ancestors from all of the cultures that arrived here in the melting pot lived in ghettos next to the other ghettos. And then once we got to New York, those
Yeah.
become boroughs. And so you got each ethnic culture, but the rich are up here, up on that fucking hill. But over here, you got the slaves, you got the indentured servants, you got the serfs and the peasants, all in the same area. They're gonna
Mixing it
exchange
up, yeah.
ideas. And all magic from everybody's culture came from trying to get one up on that man up on that hill from that culture. Everybody's magic was to address the oppression of them. You know, it's just like each
Yeah.
group feels that they're totally oppressed, but they're also living in the same damn neighborhood. So they're going to exchange ideas. You know, they're gonna, if you're out of sugar, you're gonna borrow some from the neighbor. It doesn't matter if they're fucking white, black, or Chinese or whatever. But those
Yeah.
ideas in magic mixed together a long time ago. The horse left the gate. The ship has sailed. You can't bring that back.
No, no,
Right?
no.
And they
I don't
I
think.
have friends from, you know, Appalachian witches, and they've left the app because they're like, different people are like, can't use that because that's ours. And she's like, this is Appalachian magic. And they're like, no, 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 that's ours. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it's
I
crazy
think
to me.
what's interesting, and this is a thing that was being brought up about ghetto magic, right? In the 1950s and 60s, my grandmother came over. Well, she came over from Puerto Rico in the 1940s, and she had a spiritual center, right? We call them centro espiritistas, or temples, right? And she had a temple, and I remember the story always being told to us that there was a Hindu couple that had a baby, and this baby was colicky. Now, the doctors in the United States, everything they treated with medicine, they never treated anything with herbs or any type of anything else, right? So they didn't give the baby much prospect of surviving the colic. Like, the colic was really bad with the baby. They came I remember maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. This was my dad told me the story. I was born in 71, so I'm just reiterating what they've told me throughout the years. So this couple comes to the door and they knock on the door, and my dad answers the door. My dad must have been like maybe fresh out of Korea. He had just came from the Korean War, you know, and he opens the door and he's like, who are these people, you know? And they're like asking for Doña Rosa. Her name was Rosa Maria, right? So they asked for Doña Rosa. That's how she was known in the neighborhood. Oh, Doña Rosa, can you please get her? My son is sick. And she comes out with her robe and he's like, Mommy, go back to sleep. You know, it's too early in the morning. He said, look, she said, just go. I've been waiting for these people. Open the door to the center, turn on the lights, and go back to bed. And she brought the kid down and cured the kid from the colic. And then days later, they came with money, with food. And at that time, she took the food, but the money, she was like, no, 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 you guys need the money. Don't worry about that. I did this out of charity. You know, to think that a Hindu couple would come to a Puerto Rican home looking for some type of spirituality and get the help they needed, of course, cross culturalization is going to happen.
Yeah.
Of course, these things are going to happen. These things that happen in New York all the time,
Well,
all the time.
and you bring up an excellent point. We're talking about folk medicine. Same
Yes.
idea. Do you know how many cultures practice cupping? Have you ever seen cupping? Where
Yeah.
they
The
pour
heating
glass and they
with the
light
cup.
something on
Yeah.
fire. You see it in The Godfather. You see, they
Mm-hmm.
just do to little Michael when he's sick. The Russians do it. Marta
Mm-hmm.
learned in Chinese medicine.
Polish.
But nobody's like saying you can't practice these different medicines because it's medical appropriation. It's like
Yeah,
we
no, it's
exchange
stupid.
ideas and we become wiser.
Yeah, yeah. I
We
think
have
what
that
happens is,
stuff.
I think what happens again, like, if we give reverence to certain things, of course, we can't lay claims to things that have been done throughout the years, but we have to give respect to certain peoples and certain ideologies. And I think that's the problem with these new people, that they're getting involved in things and then saying that people are appropriators and they know nothing of it. They know nothing of the practice, and that's the
Hmm.
problem. It's sad.
So in Norse paganism that I'm in, we have a lot of issue with UPG, which is unverified personal gnosis, and they try to stick to the practice like reconstruction, but then they
Hmm.
add their own flair to it. And I think what's also happening is people are saying that they're under this specific religion or culture, but they're also adding in their own UPG. And they're
Hmm.
not stating it's UPG, they're saying that it's part of the culture. And that's where all the confusion's coming in with the younger generation.
Hmm.
That's the generation that says do whatever you feel, and intent is all that matters.
Yeah. And I think, I noticed that started happening a lot with this whole understanding of chaos magic and the Cthulhu understanding and all that stuff, and that's fine. I guess that's a form of self-expression of magic, right? A self-expression and creating new deities and whatever it was, but it got out of hand. It gets out of hand, you know?
I think Phil Hine did it. Probably the best read on chaos magic is Phil Hine, and he created a pantheon of deities based on Star Trek characters.
Hmm.
And his rationale was fucking brilliant. He said, look, your average pagan deity has one or two stories associated with it, and people have been repeating for thousands of years. Star Trek characters have 5 years worth of data, and they have a cult following called Trekkies who hang on every fucking word. And if you get anything wrong in Trekkie world, they will jump on your ass. And just that amount of energy, that amount of focus that people have put into that for years is how a god derives its power.
Yeah, just like Star Wars.
Indeed. Yeah, yeah. Well, and then Star Wars was another one. Star Wars was describing the right hand and left hand paths. And in
Hmm.
the 80s, when it came out, we got that right away. And the Force, the,
Hmm.
the thread that binds the whole universe together, was like, whoa, this is pagan as fuck.
Have any of you seen Rogue One?
I
Rogue
didn't see
One,
that
a
one.
little bit.
Because Rogue One touched on sort of the evolution of religion. When they lose the temple, and then it just becomes the Force is a philosophy rather than an actual energy, you know?
Hmm.
I found that to be very interesting from an anthropological
I
look.
have to see that one.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
lost track. Yes, it's a chaos magic. Chaos
Yes.
magic is not the magic of causing chaos. It's based on chaos theory, which
Hmm.
is best described as if a butterfly flapping its wings on one side of the planet can cause a hurricane on the other side of the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Chaos.
look. I mean, I don't take away from anybody's practice. Whatever you practice and whatever you believe, if it works for you, it works, right? But I think the problem here is that when you know, we start putting labels on each other, and start trying to diminish everybody's understanding of their practice. That's where these young people are wrong. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Ripping
where
each
they're
other
wrong.
apart. I'm the big bad. I'm the best.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
mutual respect.
But I'm going to tell you, that has always been a thing. You have your witch wars, which are about people, I'm better than this, or I'm more strong. I'm going to tell you, if somebody doesn't come to me for healing, all I say is, I don't get mad. I'm not angry. Their medicine they didn't need my medicine. They needed somebody else's medicine. You know, just I think that we have lost through solitary practicing. I think we have lost the whole idea of interacting with community.
I've often said you need both. You know, not being solitary will teach you why you might want to be. But you need to be able to function in a group. And then I've often said the Wiccans, the way they state things fucked a lot of people up. Perfect love means learning who's worthy of your love. Perfect trust means learning who to trust. But in Wicca, those are taken as blind faith and blind love. And just love everybody and trust everybody. And that's a recipe for disaster right there. Ryan, how the hell are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you went away.
Hi.
Hi.
You
I
guys
thought
doing
that was
Hi.
you. And we got Appalachian Cosmo Ruckus in here. People were talking about Appalachian magic a couple of minutes ago.
No, I was scrolling by and I heard you say chaos magic and my little ears perked up because
Phil Hine,
I
dude.
wanted to see what you guys had to say.
Most of Phil Hine's works are available in PDF. Even his published books, he put everything out on the internet before he published those same things. So Phil Hine is probably the best read on chaos magic. He's the easiest to understand of a impossible to understand practice.
Can I tell you how I feel about chaos magic?
Sure.
Have you guys ever read the book Postmodern Magic?
Yeah.
Did you read that book?
Yeah, it's been a bit. Yeah.
So my understanding of chaos
Which
magic
was
is that, well, chaos magicians get a really, really bad rap because they're accused of appropriating everything, appropriating everybody else's culture everywhere from any kind of magic to, like you said, pop culture. I can cast a spell by putting on a chicken suit, setting myself on fire and get something done. But I think chaos magic has more to do with just the ability to be able to shift paradigms when you're doing magical work.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because, you know, I think that, like for me, I started out after I got kicked out of the crazy conservative Christian religion I was raised in. The first thing I did was initiate myself as a solitary Wicca practitioner, because obviously the books of Scott Cunningham, who I love, who did a very good job of leaving a tradition, even if people don't like it or don't agree with it. Scott Cunningham did a lot for everyone in the magical community, just like Gerald Gardner did.
Herb books. He was the first to put one out that was easy to read and accessible. And then he did stones. Yeah. He was
had a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
He did a lot of great stuff. But, you know, chaos magic was founded through the whole ceremonial magic line, right? It was Phil Hine after Spare, and before that, Crowley and all of that stuff. So I took a lot. There's a book that I want everybody to read, and I just want to put it out there. It's called Advanced Magic for Beginners. It's called Advanced Magic for Beginners by Alan Chapman. Because when we're talking about chaos magic, we're talking about moving past all the Phil Hine stuff. Phil Hine did coin it, but I think there are a lot of other post-modern practitioners that took his teachings further, like a lot further than that. And the number one thing is being able to shift into different paradigms in order to work different traditions. As an example, if you practice Palo Mayombe, but you also practice Haitian voodoo, and you also practice Lukumi, or you practice Ifa, I'm talking about traditions that come out of the Caribbean, and I know that Eric can back me up on this. Every single tradition is practiced differently. There are similarities. They come from the same areas in the diaspora, but you don't treat, you know what I'm saying? Whenever you walk into a space, you're going to work that particular tradition, a particular way, because that is the way you work with those spirits. That is the way you call them. That is the way you work with them. And you don't work with everybody the same. Everyone's different. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying about chaos magic is the idea that, you know, I can walk into this space and I can act magically this way. And then I can walk into this space over here and I can work that. And I can walk. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, let me throw in something about the cultural appropriation of chaos magic, because chaos magic studies all known forms of magic and comes up with drastically new ways of implementing them. And when we are out here arguing about cultural appropriation, the thing that I like to remind people of, no, it's subcultural. Okay? The majority of any of our lineages are not practicing magic. Witchcraft is a subculture. Voodoo is a subculture. When Eric was mentioning Cat Ironwood, I took Cat Ironwood's course. I got her book over there. And one of the things that she has you do at the end of the course is you've got to find an African-American person.
No, it's not at the end. It's just one of the homeworks.
It's one of the homeworks. You got to find an African-American person, your token black friend, and interview them on the folk traditions in their family. And many people found that when they did that, they found, you know, most of their black friends didn't have any fucking folk traditions in their family. There was no magic. It was not common. Is that you or is that over here? That's a weird sound.
I don't know. I just found that.
We've got an alarm.
Oh, that alarm. The alarm is. I'll turn.
Was that Doc? Okay.
It's the aliens.
I'm at dialysis right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no. No, don't be sorry. I am right at the precipice of a transplant, so.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck with that.
Traditions are at the core of any of our cultures, is basically what I'm saying. We are a subculture. Whatever magic we're practicing, we're a subculture of the culture. It isn't the common practice of any of our cultures for everybody to be practicing these things.
I would even say that it boils down to a sub-society where where you are flavors everything you do, you know?
Yeah.
And
I'm in New Orleans, so we get a lot of flavor.
And even, like, I grew up in a Polish neighborhood. Even though they would say that they weren't doing magic, things like they would incorporate things from using horseradish to clear you up and stuff like that. But people would grab different things. Like they would also think that works, and then they would share it to another person. Like I know my grandmother always was I was raised in Magic Ghetto, and then went from there into Scott Cunningham and all that stuff, and until find my own southern tradition with folk magic. But I also incorporate my Polish folk magic into that. So, to me, if something works, why not use it? You know?
Chaos, man. Whatever works.
And especially if you are giving reverence to it. I think the thing that complicates the most things is that people are taking things and not giving reverence for the origin in which they came.
Yeah.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
It's a little bit more complicated than that, though, Doc. It's a lot more complicated than that in practices when it comes to performing something correctly or incorrectly. I got kicked off of somebody's live the other night because I said that you can't do whatever you want. Like in reality, you can try, but just because you try to do something doesn't mean you're going to get success. And so that concept of I can do whatever I want just because I give it reverence doesn't really hold weight in the real world.
I think what happens also is not only whatever we want to do. I think more so what happens is that when we decide that we're going to expound on a tradition and maybe incorporate something new. It may work for the practitioner at the moment, right? But how many times can you go to that well and come up dry, come up empty, or something drastic happen because now you've changed the parameters of that practice? And I think that's where sometimes with the whole chaos magic, you know, they're incorporating different ideologies and creating a new concept. And okay, it may work for the moment, right? But when will that physics or that law of that paradigm become a problem when they try to incorporate it again and now it doesn't work? Or now it becomes, now it works, but now I got all these other complications. So there's like all these variables within magic that sometimes, you know, elder priests or, you know, elder practitioners wind up taking on and try to create a sense of, you know, just try to create that sense of control, you know, and not control of the person, but control of the aspect of how we practice it without losing its essence. Excuse me for a second.
Yeah, that's a great complex. Yeah, I can't get my words out right now. Context. The other thing is, witchcraft is a science, and you can't just say, right, I'm going to do this spell. I'm going to put these items together, and it's going to work. It's like you have to test things out. How much of one ingredient do you have to put in? Is that ingredient going to mesh with the other ingredients? And it's like trial and error. You have to get your workings to work. It's not just going to magically work. Well, it sometimes does, but it's not going to just magically work right away. You have to adapt it.
Works.
I have a comment to make on that, on this appropriation thing. There's half the room here is my age. Okay, so you were probably practicing back in the day, just like I was. And here's the thing about these closed practices. We didn't know what we didn't know. They didn't share the closed parts. If I was introduced to something by someone from another path, those were open things. You can't appropriate what you don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how people are appropriating things, because if they are, it's because people are sharing things. The problem is there. It's not in the appropriation, it's in the sharing your damn secrets.
And that sharing happened a
We came up in a time where we didn't have an internet. Do you know what I mean?
There was no internet, exactly.
I mean, back
I
in
think
my
also
day,
I
hoodoo
think
and
also the
witchcraft were all
appropriation of
together in a blender. You didn't know what hoodoo, where hoodoo started and witchcraft ended. It was
yeah.
Exactly.
the magic.
I think a lot of
Exactly.
the appropriation too came with this not only the internet but also books. You know, I have a lot of elders that wrote books, even though they wrote things in reverse, right? Or when people read them, they go, "Oh, well, I have the whole ceremony for an Orisha practice." Yeah, but it's all backwards. And if you knew how the context of the way things go, it doesn't go the way he wrote it, but it's a big encyclopedia, you know. And you're like, someone eventually is going to try to do it on their own and follow the basis, right? And that's where we wind up with these problems too, you know?
I mean, the thing is like when it comes to witchcraft, you know, I can't just decide that I'm going to bake a cake. So I'm going to go to my refrigerator and I'm going to grab my eggs and my milk and I'm going to grab flour and I'm going to grab some sugar and grab some of this and grab some of that. I want some fruit in it. I'm going to grab some of that. And then I'm going to take these products and I'm just going to put into a pan the amount that I think is the right amount based on how I feel. And then I'm going to whip it all up and I'm going to put it in the oven. I'm going to put it on a temperature, whatever temperature I feel like. And I'm going to leave it in there for as long as I feel there. Suddenly, miraculously, I'm going to get a cake because I took the right ingredients and I put it in an oven. I should get a cake at the end. And if you're serious about witchcraft, magic, hoodoo, voodoo, anything, doesn't matter what it is, There is a time-tested way to get a result out of these particular things. And so the problem that I see on TikTok is people feel like what people feel today is because I feel a certain kind of way, it should work. But that's not how things work in real life. And I do agree with Nana that, well, I don't want to talk about cultural appropriation. I just don't want to, for me personally. But at the same time, people are practicing things because they can read them in books. And even if you put a disclaimer in a book that says you need to find a qualified priest or you need to find somebody who actually practices this stuff to communicate with them and to get a reading from them, to get a godparent, to get help. If it's in a book, people will not consider it to be closed. And that is the philosophy these days. If it's in a book, I can do it because they put it out there.
Or on the internet.
Yeah. Well, like I say, like we have a conjure shop here in New Orleans that doesn't believe that white people should practice hoodoo. So my challenge to them is stop selling to white people. Don't sell to white people. Have a door. You know, no whites allowed. Put it on your fucking door, man. But you'll take their money.
Go to the cave.
Snapped and fell onto a 16-year-old who's critically injured.
Oh dear.
That's the can.
Oh wow.
I mean, you know, if you look at the Caribbean practices, I mean, that was kind of like the argument during the time of the Cuban Revolution, the revolution, you know, Puerto Rican Revolution, the Haitian Revolution. Should white people be in these type of understandings and stuff like that? And it was always an argument that how could you distinguish a white person from anyone else, because everybody was mulatto, everybody was mixed at that point. There was such a grand mix of things that, you know, your father could be black and your mother could be white or vice versa, and still, you know, there was still part of the practice. There was still in the culture. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it sounds kind of stupid and asinine when people say that about white people in general, you know, because if we're going by a skin color versus a person being in the culture, two different things. You know what I mean? And I think that's the problem. You know, we don't know how to discern. You know, unfortunately in the 1690s, you know, the race card was presented here in the Americas, and unfortunately it's been the staple for most of the world. Now, you know, other places in the world are trying to deviate from that understanding and understand that everyone is a human. But here in the United States, everything is built by race, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Everything
it's
is black and
crazy
white.
looking
It
from the
sucks.
outside in. It's scary. It's like, whoa, the division is phenomenal. Like, you don't
Oh,
get that in other places,
it's
you know?
designed to be that way.
Yeah, it's shocking.
They
It's
have to
it's
keep us.
shocking.
They have to keep us fighting each other. Otherwise, we'll fight them, and we can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There,
We
there,
become too smart.
there are only two people I believe in the world: the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
So if they
That's
keep the
Ireland is very, you know, you either have the money or you don't. That's our division. Classism, you know. But your ethnicity, your colour doesn't come into it. You either have that or you don't. I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, class war has always been here. Everybody's looking for a race war. They ain't getting it. I mean, there is the idea of keeping certain races, you know, under the heel of the class war, you know, keeping black people poor, that kind of thing. But the race
Yeah.
war is universal everywhere. Or I'm saying the class war. Class war is universal everywhere. There's that squealing sound again. Thanks, Doc. I muted myself for a minute there too. My neighbor's doing some yard work apparently.
You should mute yourself more often.
Shut up, woman.
I think
Don't you
the
talk to
biggest
her
problem.
like that.
Yeah, don't you talk to her like that. Telling you.
Yeah.
Banana, get him.
She likes the rough stuff. She likes the rough.
I think what's irritating to people of color, and I totally understand this, is white people feel like they have the right to do whatever they want and that they can reach out and they can grab from any culture whatever they
Entitlement.
want without asking permission, without knowing anybody that actually does the stuff, without getting any kind of consultation or advice or any kind of guidance at all. And that's the problem that people have with white people practicing spiritualities that come from other ethnicities. So forget it being closed or open or whether or not it's initiation based or ethnically based. People have a problem with white people saying, you know what, I think I'm a shaman because I had a spiritual awakening. I'm going to go buy myself some feathers and I'm going to put them in my hair and I'm going to buy myself a drum and I'm going to bang on it and I'm going to create a little, I'm going to create a little bonfire here and I'm going to dance around in circles chanting Native American songs that I have absolutely zero connection to.
Well,
So yeah, I'm mad about that
But see,
too.
Well,
I have one problem with that. The blanket statement of white people.
Because it's white people, it's always been white people. It's always been
But it's
white
not
people.
every white
it's
person.
No, it's
no,
not every
no.
white person. It's not
There's,
every
there's
individual white person, but it's white people in general. We can say generally.
Well, no, generally I can say that hoodoo appropriated a bunch of other people's magics into it as well.
No
That's
doubt.
that's just the way stuff happens in a melting pot sometimes too. Um, what was I going
But
to say? I think it can be very different. It's like I do not practice Santeria, but I work Elegua most of my life. And I learned the proper respect and the proper rituals that went along with Elegua. And every Monday I worked him at the door of my store. I was raised to have Elegua at the door of a witch store. And I did it with respect. I learned what to do. I was not practicing the closed practice, but I was working with Elegua. Now, some people
Michael, hold
think
on a second. Look, if anybody is not actively speaking, put yourself on mute because people cannot
yeah,
hear
a lot
other
of
people talking with all this stuff going on in the background.
so
Thank you.
So some people like to gatekeep deities. And I know deity is probably not the best word for Elegua too. And I remember somebody was asking me about, working with Hecate and whether it was, appropriate to do it and, whether they were doing it right. And I said, look, no matter what culture you're from, the pagan, for lack of a better word, deities have been shat on for thousands of years. They appreciate attention. If you do it with respect, if you approach them with respect, you can work with anyone you want, not necessarily within a certain practice. But like I said, I was not initiated in any of those practices, and I worked with Elegua fine forever. And then my tata told me I couldn't do it anymore because now I have Lucero, so I don't need Elegua.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're a pagan, you don't have to call the river Oshun. Oshun is the Orisha of all the fresh waters of the earth. She's the fresh water. She gives life-nourishing energy to the earth. Nothing on earth would live without her. But if you want to go talk to the spirits of the river, go talk to the spirits of the river. Talk to the river. Talk to the trees. Talk to the mountain. Go to the sea. Talk to the sea. You don't have to put a name on it. Why is it so
My daughter used to
important?
give offerings to Oshun every day. A little 6-year-old girl. Every time we cross the river, she toss a flower in there. It's like, is that bad? Does Oshun not want that?
So here's the thing. What I'm saying is, yes, Oshun is an Orisha of the river, of the fresh waters. But why is it so important that someone who's outside of the culture call the river Oshun? Why is it so important that
they don't?
why is it so important that you push that you have to use the names for particular cultures? If you're not part of the culture, just go to the river, talk to the river, take honey to the river, but why is it so crucially important that people force themselves into places that they don't have any license or they have no training in?
I don't see why they couldn't call it Oshun, though. I don't really see what the problem was. I think that somebody should ask Oshun if she has a problem with that. think it's going to be a resounding no.
I think it's no too, and I'm in your team, Michael. I
I
don't
know.
think people would like that very much, but at the same time, if a young woman that has if a young woman, I'm going to say this, if a young black woman, a young African American woman learns about Oshun because Beyonce is a child of Oshun, right? Beyonce is an Orisha tradition. I believe that she's an initiated. I don't know if she is or not. Let's say a young woman that loves Beyonce learns about Oshun. So she decides that she's going to go down to the river and she's going to take some honey and she's going to sit there by the river and she's going to talk about her problems. She's going to cry. Her tears are going to drip into the river. She's going to give honey to the river. She's going to talk to her God. Nobody can tell her that she can't do that. Nobody can tell that girl that she can't do it. Why? Because she is a child of the diaspora. If Orisha means anything, it means something to her. It is her ancestral roots. It is her ancestral practices. No one can tell her she can't do that.
Well, I remember.
I mean, you might want to tell somebody they can't, but in all reality, you can't tell anybody to do anything. So the whole idea of telling people they can and cannot do this or that is it's complicated.
So I remember before we were scratched to Madre de Agua, we were going down to the ocean and throwing rose petals into the surf, shotgunning tobacco, cigars into the water, rum, spraying rum into the ocean. And our former kind of Tata saw our post about it and was very upset and told us that we can't do that. We cannot honor Madre de Agua. And then we were scratched to her a couple days later and he shut the fuck up. But what would be the problem with that? I don't think Madre de Agua minded it. Some people on the beach thought it was kind of fucking weird, but that's their problem.
I think we're going to, I know that, so for one thing, Eric, you know, I like you. I don't have any problems with you, Eric.
I don't listen to you either. I'm at the bank.
Right.
Give me all the money in your register.
Because I know that me and Eric don't share the same opinions about some things, and that's just fine because we don't all have to agree on everything. So if you want to use Orisha as an example, you can go to a botanica and you can buy a statue of Oshun. And you can go home and you can take that statue and you can put it on an altar and you can put sunflowers around it. You can put out honey around it. You can sit there, you can pray to it, you can talk to it, but it's not a consecrated shrine. If you want to receive Oshun proper, then you would find godparents, you'd get initiated, and if Oshun is an Orisha that you're supposed to receive, you will receive that shrine officially the way it should be given within the culture. But at the same time, we can't say, really, at the end of the day, because we're not God, we can't say at the end of the day, that person who doesn't receive the consecrated shrine can't do what they're doing. We just leave them alone, let them do their own thing. Maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe one day they will decide that they want to do more than that. But at the same time, we can't. Jesus said, don't judge other people. So if you any kind of beliefs around we shouldn't judge other people, then leave the people alone. They're not harming anyone by doing what they're doing.
Well, I tell you, I had never knew that there were so many witch police until I got on this app. It was
A lot of them only exist here.
To reiterate something, that's interesting about that is that I don't think it's about not allowing for people to express themselves, because I understand, especially children that are born in the diaspora and deal with their parents who are initiated priests and priestesses and they are not initiated, and their parents don't allow them in the rooms, and they've been very guarded with their Orisha. I can see where a person can feel, oh, I have a connection to it because my parent, my guardian, whoever in their life, right? What and I think a lot of practitioners like myself and other practitioners worry about is not, I don't even want to say it's appropriation, but it's the misinformation that's being given out by other people claiming to know what they're talking about. So if it's an appropriation, I don't know if I can say if it's an appropriation, but the misinformation that's been being given out, you have people giving out beads, waist beads, and claiming that they're consecrated by the energy of Oshun, or they're giving oils being consecrated by the energy of Oya, and so forth. And so this kind of like goes into a new agey premise that, okay, it's gimmicky, and the commercialism is great because people have really good ideas, right? Like, I see the ideas and I go, wow, that's really, like, if I was to do something like that, it might sell, right? But I'm a priest of Yemaya. I have Yemaya made to my head. When people start doing that, it becomes more of like, are we really giving information? Is this really the way Orisha is practiced, or is this just a way to, and again, the infamous word, the appropriation of a culture due to selling products, due to, giving a misinformed understanding of things? And I think that's the common denominator. And I don't think, and unfortunately, it comes from this whole understanding of, back in early 2000, there wasn't a lot of apothecaries. Now everybody has a damn apothecary, and they sell herbs. And the only apothecary in New York was the Magic Child on 14th Street.
Oh, that's old.
That was the only apothecary in New York City at the time. Yes, there were other shops, ossuaries, other places where they sold bones and things like that. But the only apothecary shop where they did Wiccan magic, and they spoke a little bit about hoodoo, and they spoke about voodoo and palo in little dribs and drabs, because they had their little bookstores on the side, was the Magic Child. Other than that, nowadays, every damn shop has a bit of everything. And it's like, when does it stop? When does it stop being that now priests have to come and open up their mouth about, hey, you know what? Maybe you guys need to put the brakes on this Oshun oil or this Yemaya soap, or, it's like, when is too much too much? That would be my question to the panel.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Eric. Let's use Christianity as an example, because Orisha is a world religion. It is a world religion. It exists everywhere. Yoruba people went all over the world that carried those practices. So in the 1st century, we see that there are many different kinds of Christians until Christianity was codified by the Orthodox Christians. And then we see at some point in time, the Pope decided, you know what, I'm not like all these other bishops. I'm the spokesperson for Christianity. So you have this break between Orthodox Christians and the Catholic Church. And then people get tired of the Catholic Church's bullshit, so they rebel. So you have the Protestant Reformation. And then after the Protestant Reformation, Christianity continues to break and break and break and break into so many different factions that if you look around today, there are so many different denominations of Christianity. It's kind of like, well, which kind of Christian do you want to be? You want to be a Catholic Christian? You want to be a Jehovah's Witness? You want to be a Mormon Christian? And the thing is that what we're seeing with Orisha, it is not stoppable. This is not going to stop. This is not going to change. Like what you're talking about, I totally get it. But at the same time, instead of practitioners who are authentic practitioners of the tradition, what can authentic practitioners of the tradition do to help people Instead of criticize them, help people to understand the tradition without attacking them, because people get really, really, really defensive really quick if you come around and you attack them because of what you see them doing. As an example, if I'm a child of Oshun, if I'm scrolling through and I see a young woman, a young black woman, and I keep using the word black because we're talking about Orisha, and this is very important. Ethnicity is important when you're talking about diaspora. And I see a young woman, and she says that she's a child of Oshun. And she's got sunflowers in her bio, and she's got a statue to Oshun and all of that. I'm not going to attack her. I have zero reason to attack this person for doing what they do, because what they do doesn't harm me. That's what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that the breaking off and splintering of the tradition is going to continue to happen because it happens in every single religion. This happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, like the thing about splintering, you have different houses who practice differently. That's what I'd say. My godfather does things one way. This house does it another. This region in Matanza does it one way. In Havana, they do it the other. You have it in Africa. There's regions of Ifa that don't even practice Ifa. They practice Fa, which is Benin and Togo. Right. And it's the same concept of Ifa. It's just practiced differently. They have different deities. They have different names for things. But it's all in the formulation of practice. I don't think that so much can be an issue with change, right? But it's like at some point, and you're absolutely right when it comes to taking that young person and telling them, well, how did you come about ascertaining that Oshun was your mother? Because again, this whole concept of motherhood and fatherhood is a slavery concept. It's not an African concept. It's a diasporic Caribbean concept, and it's due to the fact of slavery. Slavery created the confines for people to do that, to get the mother and father, syndrome. What's up, Mike?
Hey, something I like to throw in there. We're seeing, and everybody's talking about it here, how much we can all learn from each other in varying traditions. Yeah. And a thing that our witch ancestors made very clear. Most of you have probably heard of the Book of Shadows. Most of you probably don't know how the Book of Shadows came to be. Traditionally, witchcraft all over the world was an oral tradition. And back to the Irish, there was an idea that came from the bards that no story should ever be written down, or the story dies. The story can't live and evolve. But eventually, after a couple thousand years of persecution, some witches realized that their traditions were dying out. And many traditions believed, back when Gardner started his work, the story is he was contacted by many other witches around England after he published his first book that believed that they were the last of their kind alive. And the Book of Shadows comes about, and that's why it's called the Book of Shadows, because it's a very dark time for our people worldwide when we had to write our shit down. It was becoming lost. What our ancestors figured out, that maybe other people's ancestors might need to figure out, oral traditions do not work. They will be altered. They will be changed. It's like the game of telephone. When it gets around the circle, you're going to have an entirely different tradition after each person whispered it into each person's ear. And I also am a player. Don't write the shit down. But I recognize the problem therein, and probably why I see so many different versions of Paulo out there, because nobody wrote shit down. So
right, but here's the thing, Michael. The thing is that when you write something down, then you get the Bible. A lot of people thought it was a good idea to write down the Gospels. A lot of people thought it was a good idea to pass around the letters of Paul. A lot of people thought it was a good idea to keep the secret teachings of Christianity, whatever those are. We'll have no idea what those things ever were now. but they thought it was a good idea to write down these mysteries, and then you get the Bible. And so I see a lot of value in keeping something an oral tradition, because let me just say something about oral traditions. An oral tradition has the ability to adapt to its environment, has the ability to evolve with the people who practice it. It has the ability to change. When you have a codified book that says Palo has to be practiced this way, or Santeria has to be practiced this way, now you get dogmatism. Now you have people who are like, well, Eric Cologne said that you have to practice Lukumi like this, and if you don't practice it like this, everybody else is wrong. Now you get that. So you're exchanging one problem for another by taking an oral tradition and making it a documented tradition. But I understand a lot of people have documented or written down traditions because they were afraid it was going to die. If you're afraid that your tradition is going to die and nobody will ever know what it is or how to practice it, then I can understand why somebody would want to document it.
So it's about people's perception of how they read it. That then can also spiral it out of control because you see that with the Bible and all holy books.
And people that don't deserve it. And people that don't deserve to practice the practices.
Eric, Orsa says you should answer that.
Yeah, I just read that.
I think, look, I think with the whole thing about practice and just like the Book of Shadows, just like Ifa, just like the Orisha practice with the Dilogun, which is the corpus of Ifa. The Dilogun came first, then Ifa came later. A lot of it is oral tradition. And of course, through regions, certain oral traditions become skewed, right? Different stories, different concepts. We have the concept of creation in Orisha practice where a lot of people believe in Lukumi that it was Yembo that was the creation of the world that gave birth to all the Orishas, that was raped by Ogun. In traditional understanding, they call it Iyemu. And Iyemu is kind of like the concept of an Orisha Funfun or a white Orisha, which becomes in the corpus of Obatala, right? So you have different understandings in different regions. They even talk about Alegba being kind of like miscued in the background or Eshu as part of the arbitrator between Olodumare and how the earth became one. That's why we propitiate Olodumare, right? We propitiate Eshu. Olodumare put in oral tradition that if we don't propitiate Eshu, anything that we do will not come to pass, right? So all these things become skewed within regions and with religions and within practices, right? And I don't think that there's no one right answer. Is that the basis of tradition is the way your father taught it and your grandfather taught it and your mother's mother taught it and so forth. And so once we start changing that parameters, it's when we lose tradition, right? It's like me, Kaz, going to you and telling you that your Celtic beliefs are wrong because your grandfather was wrong and I have the right answer. You're going to tell me go fuck off. You're pretty much going to tell me go fuck off. Not in all those type of words, but so then for me to come and say, well, my godmother or my godfather taught me a certain way and I have to follow this. This is what tradition is about versus opening up these mandates of understanding. I tell people all the time, I get a lot of people that come to me, I had a girl come from Tennessee yesterday who I had to do a cleaning for, who was dealing with two people on TikTok who may be in the tradition of their own practices, may have 3 to 5 years of practice. And the person was messed up. And I'm talking about totally messed up. And I sat to sit with them and kind of rewire their brain to actually think logically about things. And so if I'm having to do that, right, without putting the parameters of people's names out there and saying, oh, they're a bad priest or they're a bad this or they're a bad that in their own traditions, I'm getting people coming looking for me to help them. So I have to teach them what I know, right? And I have to teach them based off of my tradition. And the whole problem with dogma, right, is that, and I heard Ryan when he said about, you know, if people say practicing Palo in a certain way, look, I can't tell Michael how to practice. He believes that they were giving offerings to Kalunga or to Madre Agua, and then later on he was initiated to Madre Agua. Who am I to tell him that he's wrong? In my tradition, in my house, we don't practice like that because Kalunga is born from a mountain that's born from an understanding of what we consider the Congo cemetery, which is the ocean and the land, right? Like 3/4 of the earth is covered in water, and like maybe 1/4 is covered in land, and that 3/4 of water is Kalunga. That's the realm of the ancestors. It's the giant. Everybody loves to go to Bermuda, Mexico, and all these places. They don't know that they're swimming in a giant cesspool of cemetery stuff, right? Things are buried in the ocean, right? We have no understanding of what's going on there. Look at these idiots that took that little thing and went to the Titanic and found out for themselves, huh? And so this is the thing. I can't turn around and tell Michael that he's wrong, right? Because in his understanding and in his godparents' view, that is Madre Agua, and that is fine. But as long as we understand that respecting that view is key to understanding how to deal with people culturally, and maybe we can learn things from each other is one way. But if I go and I try to preach something that may seem dogmatic or not dogmatic, and then all of a sudden I'm just spewing out the mouth and I'm creating wars with Bree, wars with Nana, wars with Kaz, wars with Mike. Who am I? I'm nobody, right? I'm nobody in your view. I'm just a guy behind the screen, you know? And that's the problem when you get all these philosophical people that know more than each other. Nobody really sits down to listen, you know?
These are lost. Welcome to WitchTok. That's the
Exactly.
downfall of WitchTok. Everyone's a fucking teacher and they know nothing.
Yeah.
That's why
And
the
I
respect for
respect.
elders is lost. I'm telling you.
I respect everybody's understanding of how things are done, but it's really sad when people, instead of wanting to learn from each other, start attacking each other. And I try to avoid that. You know, I try not to go into these whole things. Before I used to always have these dramas, and I just stopped. I took myself out of that. You know what I mean? Because everybody knows better.
Yeah.
So then, who am I, right? Who am I? Who am I to argue with people? You're in your truth. Everybody's in their truth. So I have to just step back and just be a viewer. You know?
Yeah.
The way to
Did that
be.
answer the question?
I don't even remember what the question was. You said
What
a whole
was the
lot.
3 miles later.
Here's the thing. What you do doesn't affect me at all.
Then there's that.
No.
That's
Yeah.
true.
People that say this
I
stuff about what
disagree with
everybody
that.
else does.
I
You know?
disagree with that.
Okay, tell me
A
how.
lot of people. Okay, because you're here, you're involved, you're in a community. So if you're saying people that you are closely associated with on this app, if they are hurt or harmed, you mean it doesn't bother you?
It bothers me, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Why? Because you have compassion. Okay, so you have this, yeah, maybe you don't take things in internally, but we're all here for a bigger purpose than just ourselves. Just you. Uncle Birch is not here with your monthly reminder just to be breathing. He's here. We're all here
Okay,
for a
but I think we're
purpose.
overcomplicating it. I don't think we're talking about people hurting people. How, Bree, how you do magic, I could give two shits how you do magic.
I know. It's obvious.
Okay? Same with anybody else on here. It doesn't matter to me what you do. Now, if I see you hurting someone, now we're in a whole different subject. But I don't think we're talking, or is that what we're talking about? People getting hurt?
So
Or are
you
we
mean
talking about
I can't
people
sacrifice my enemies on the altar
policing?
of the blood
Oh,
gods?
Well, you can't.
yeah,
Just
my
don't put it on
blessings
TikTok.
Cool
ever.
with that.
That's an outrage if you can't do it.
That's an outrage. If you can't sacrifice your enemies on the altar, then that's an outrage.
Well, how else am I going to eat my soup?
Yeah,
Thank you.
too much gatekeeping right there.
You can't do anything anymore.
I've always said that's the whole problem with everything. No one drinks their Coke out of the skulls of their enemies anymore.
What
I do.
Thank
What are you
you.
talking about?
Ursa says what hurts people is blatant
I love
misinformation.
Coke.
Well, that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Is we wouldn't have
Okay.
misinformation if everybody wasn't covering their shit and not, I mean, you don't want a bunch of bullshit hoodoo out there, but you don't want to teach them fucking hoodoo so they do the right goddamn hoodoo. So you're going to have a bunch of bullshit hoodoo out here.
I've
Unless
read 3
you want to
books.
school
I'm an
these
I
expert.
get that. I get
you're
that.
going to do it wrong.
I also think it's important
People have lost the ability to think for themselves.
that people have
People.
lost the ability to
Especially on
communicate with
TikTok.
one another civilly.
Well,
That's
especially
the
on
first
TikTok.
problem.
Like I just did a video with a young man. He came out, and the first thing he said was there's no such thing as a closed practice, and everybody reacted to that. And it's like at least a minute long. He elaborates on it and eventually says there's no such thing as a practice that's closed to a person of a particular skin color. The spirits decide. I doubt most people are going to argue with that idea, but they just hear the first 15 seconds of what the kid said,
Yeah.
and it went on. People don't listen anymore, man. I mean, you got like 3 minutes. I mean, really, you can do 10 minutes still. I don't know if people know that. You can do 10 minutes. You just got to
I
do
think it depends.
Right? You gotta record it and then upload, and you can do 10 minutes. But still, even 3 minutes, it's hard to make a decent point in 3 fucking minutes.
They took my 10 minutes away. Just wanted to say that.
No, it's still
It's
there.
still there. They just took
No,
the
they took
button
it away
there.
from me. I can't do it.
Upload the video.
Yeah,
You
that's what
have
I
to
was saying. I
upload
think
it.
it depends on the
They
account.
really
I think it
no,
depends
no,
who you are.
anybody can upload 10 minutes. You make a
They
video of
took-
under 10 minutes, and then you go to the 3 minute, click on 3 minute, and then upload, and it will upload a 10-minute long video.
Really? Okay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they just took the button away. I don't know why,
Hmm.
but
Oh,
it was there
it was
for
But
sweet,
some
the button.
people, it seems, still have it. I think some people still have it. I don't know. It's weird.
I think
I
I
have
still
it.
have it.
I have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. See,
I'm out of here. I'm
Yeah, I
going
have
I'm not
home.
sure.
Okay, bye.
See you, Bree.
Bye, Bree.
I have to
Bye,
leave
guys.
I
here
still owe
too.
you a writing.
I have to leave too. I just want to leave a final thought, like for the couple of minutes that I'm here. I think it's also important that we listen to children. I think it's important to listen to what they have to say. I think it's important to listen to what the next generations have to say, because older practitioners, I'm 43. I'm going to be 43 July 18th. Happy birthday to me. I'm 43. I've been practicing for over 20 years. As soon as I got out of the cult that I was in, I started going down the occult path. I've been doing it for a long time. 20 years, I think, is a significant amount of time to understand something about magic. But if there's a 14 or 15-year-old kid or an 18 or 20-year-old kid that comes around and they have something to say, I'm not going to shut them down. I'm going to listen to what they have to say. I think we should allow our children to teach us. I don't think any practitioner of any age should be so arrogant as to believe that they have all the answers in the world. That's not directed at anyone. What I just said is not directed towards anyone. It's saying that we're living in a different time. I mean, right
Stop
now,
talking shit about me.
on
I'm right here.
ChatGPT.
I'm right here. Stop talking shit about me.
I'm not talking shit about you. I'm not. I mean, I did, but I don't anymore.
No, look, I will say this. In defense of Ryan, all right? I will say this. The situation with children, I totally get it, right? I totally get it. But I also believe that on this app, there should be a line of supervision. There should be a line of supervision with teenagers, a lot, because I've
100%.
had quite a few teenagers reach out to me, and then I find out that their parents don't know, and the first thing I tell them is, "Hey, give me your parents' number so that you know that you're talking to a guy who's 50 something years old, and you're trying to become. You want me to be your mentor? I don't even know you. Where's your parents in this?"
That's not what I
And I
mean,
think
though.
that's where we have to draw the lines. We have to be
Yeah.
very conscientious as
You,
grown-ups.
me,
Yeah,
and
no,
Ryan,
that's not
that
what
we
I'm
just have
talking
to,
about.
we can teach each
No,
other,
no, I
isn't it?
get it. I get what you're
No,
saying,
yeah,
though.
I'm
But
not talking
listening to
about
children.
interacting with children. I don't, because
Okay,
I would never, if some kid sent me a message, I would never respond to it for a lot of reasons, liability
definitely.
purposes.
And not only, and if you don't know, that's the thing. A
What
lot of
I'm
children
going to say, what I'm saying
don't say,
is when
you
you're
know?
scrolling through and you see young practitioners, people who are young, practicing whatever it is that they're practicing, listen to them. What are they saying? Because children that are, I don't think we should discourage anybody from being spiritual, period. The more
I agree.
spiritual people we have in the world, the better the world is going to be, because now we're looking for better solutions. And I see a lot of young people that might have only been doing this for 6 months or a year or 2 years, and they're full of energy. They have got a lot of ideas. They see the world differently than we do. We were raised in a different world. When I was growing up, I still had to do rotary phones. I mean, the whole thing about, like, these people are growing up with a cell phone in their hand, with an iPad in their hand. They don't understand the concept of what the world was like before there was a touch screen, before you could FaceTime with somebody, before you could see people on TikTok. They don't understand this. They don't have the same understanding of the world that we do. We have seen the world change drastically over the past 30 years. So what I'm saying is that with all grace and respect that we have, I don't have any respect or grace. So I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about everybody else on the panel.
Yeah, I
Be
got none.
open. Be open to listening to what the children are saying, because what they say matters, even if they're wrong. Even if they're wrong, their feelings do matter. And you should listen to them and try to approach that as delicately as possible, to try to guide in the direction that would be good for them, but at the same time, not criticizing or attacking anyone. I mean, I'm just going to be fucking honest, because I'm getting off here and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me anyway. I'm getting ready to take off. So I'm going to say what I want, and I want to say it right now.
Yeah. See.
Here we go.
Yeah.
As someone who has been attacked a lot,
You?
like not a little
What?
bit, a lot on this app, I can tell you that I'm an old man. I can handle it. If you come at me some kind of way and you want to talk to me in some kind of way and say, "You motherfucking idiot, your big white face, you need to shut up and get the hell out of here," I can handle that, because I don't give a fuck. But we can't treat people who are young and fragile and impressionable that way, because we don't want to discourage them from being spiritual. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is there's enough criticism in the world. So I just want to leave
There
everybody with
is
this
no
thought.
safe
There's no
space in
such
the
thing as a
future.
community online. A community is a place where you can go and meet people face to face in real life. That's a real house. That's a real coven. That's a place where you meet people. I just want everybody to remember that the concept of a community is a lie. It is a fake concept that we're in a community. This is not a community. WitchTok is not a community. It never has been. It's a bunch of witches with loud mouths getting on an app and talking at each other. So let's be very, very clear that this is not a community. The communities can't be built. Magical communities and fraternities cannot be built online. They're things,
Yeah.
these practices are things that have to be done with other
There are
people
changing, you know.
in real life. So that's
Unfortunately,
what
times
I'm
are
going to leave you with.
changing. That may be the way of the future. My kid has an entire community. You know, he sees them in school, but they hang out online.
She's school. So what I'm saying is magical secrets that are real secrets, the real secrets, they're not safe enough to put online. We can't talk about those things.
You shouldn't talk about those
And they
things.
shouldn't be.
I
And here's
No,
the
it
other thing.
shouldn't.
The last thing I'm going to say is even if people are wrong about shit, I don't really have any vested interest in people knowing how to practice magic correctly either. Like, as somebody that practices magic, I don't have a vested interest in every single person walking down the street knowing the mysteries and knowing what I know. So let's just go ahead and bring it back. If someone's going to really learn the mysteries, really learn them, learn how to practice them, understand what goes in that pot, they will find somebody who actually practices it. For everybody else who's part of this TikTok online bullshit, they're going to do whatever they're going to do anyway. Thank you so much, everybody. I love you. Mwah. Michael, thank you for the invite. I hope everybody has a great rest of the day, and take care of yourself. All right.
Salam alaikum. Hey, I wanted to say, Zephyr, I
What's
think you
up?
jumped in a little bit later, but did you see that Manwich is back?
Oh my God, is
He's
he
got a
really?
different name, but he was in the broadcast. When we started, he was in the broadcast. I'll have to find it. Something Portland. Portland, I think, was the last word.
Yeah, I was
Manwich is
wondering what
back
happened to
on
the guy.
TikTok.
Yeah, but he was around
I
like
was in
when I
business with
first
the guy, and I was
started
still
on
wondering
here.
what happened to the guy.
He
We
like
were in
disappeared
business
after
together when he.
Hexfest. We all met him and then
Yeah,
he disappeared.
yeah, it was
Yeah, he just shortly after.
it was it was like right after my first Text Fest when
J-
he vanished. Yeah,
It's
I remember.
it's Jaded in Portland. That's his new name.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen any content yet, but yeah, it's like we were working together at the time, and then
Right.
everything blew up in his. Yeah.
Guys, I have to pop off. It was great. I really enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you all soon, okay?
All right,
Right.
blessings.
Okay,
See
bye.
ya.
So
Yeah, no, I
Kaz
got
has
your
jumped.
invite. I got your invite. Um, I got off work at 3, so
Yeah,
I couldn't come on right at 2 o'clock. But
yeah. Well, I found that if I schedule the broadcast ahead of time, I can just invite all the people ahead of time.
yeah,
So I'm not like sitting there pressing buttons while everybody's looking at me and shit. So
I had
that's
to
kind of
wake
cool.
up early, so I set my alarm, but I missed it. I slept through it, so that's why
So
I'm late.
I mean, Kaz is out of here. I think Kaz received the video from somewhere else, but I got to ask eclectically me, what was the deal with that video you sent? Where did you get it?
I actually
Now the
got
video
sent it from
was.
a third party. They sent it to me because my name was in it. And they wanted to know what was going on and why my name was in it. I got it from. I don't really want to throw the person under the bus, but yeah, I got it from a third party. Yeah, I got it through messages. They sent it to me and they sort of said, like, what the hell's going on? Why is your name in a video and what's this stuff with Armored Sage? And I said, like, I didn't even know. You know, I tried to trace the who it was. I even messaged them, asked them to message me, asked them to message me the proof. Never got any reply. So
Okay,
yeah.
that's always a bad sign. You know, if you get asked for receipts and can't produce them. But basically, the video was about Air Mid Stage mass reporting me, Brady, and Kaz. I
Can
think.
I just say, I don't think Armid Sage would do that. Would do
See,
any of
I
that.
don't either.
I don't even know
I
the
don't see that
people.
happening.
Not at all.
I mean,
I think
I
there's
don't
somebody
know
else that's
them. I don't
pushing the
know that we have
buttons
any
and
static. I
placing the
don't
All
know.
right,
buttons.
Michael. Well, I'm gonna head out, guys. Okay.
All right, see ya.
All right. Thank you
Salam
for
alaikum.
allowing me some space in this forum. Take it
Thanks
easy.
for coming in. You're great, man. Salam
All
alaikum.
right, man. Thank you. Bye. Malaikum salam.
Mr. James is
I
coming
actually
in.
spoke to Maggie, who shall not be named about it, and that's what she said to me at the time. She's like I said, I don't even know why they would name all those creators and stuff like that. I don't even know why my name even came into it, to be honest. And that's what they turned around and said that, yeah, it's probably someone trying to like incite drama with a lot of the bigger creators. The people have like big
Well,
followings, trying to get them to fight with each other.
if
Well, and
But
that
that's what
is
I was
Tiffany,
going to say.
you've done things in the past to attack Ahmed, and how do we know that it's not you? That's because you've done this before. You've created accounts before and pretended to be somebody else. So how do we know it's not
No,
you
I've
that's
never
doing
had
this
another
again?
account. Never had another account. I've always had just the Eclectically Me account. Anything I've had to say, I've always said it on the Eclectically Me account. Never had another account.
I've never had
And I'll
any
honestly say
imposters.
that.
I guess I don't have the clout to have imposters yet,
Mr.
but
James had something to say.
hold on. Can I please speak on this? Because
Yes.
I obviously did a video.
Hi,
I
James.
have one thing to say. Eclectically me, you just said that, Maggie said, it's probably someone causing shit. Then why did you send that video to other people knowing what it would
Because their
do?
names were mentioned in it.
Okay, hold on. But you said that someone said to you it's probably someone causing shit. So why would you not just shut
After the
it
fact.
down there and then? Why would you not
After the
shut it
fact.
down there and then?
After the fact. After the
Okay.
fact. I was told that. But the fact was, at the time, I just sent it to Birch, and I sent it to. I think I sent it to Birch because he was mentioned in it. That was the only person I like. I really don't like. I thought it was crap, and that's why I did say in the message, Birch, didn't I? I said I don't really believe this, but and sent you the video because I don't.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
and
I
I
think
would
it's
have done the
you,
same
and
thing
I
because if
think
someone
you're
is talking
going
shit on
after
me, I'd want
Ahmed
to know.
again.
And
Because
that's
you've
the
gone
only
after
way I ever
Ahmed
find
before.
out. It's like I don't follow the people that are talking shit about me. If somebody doesn't send me a video, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But Mr. James does the Witch Talk news, so he's in the know of things, and
I do
the other
one of the
Witch
Witch
Talk.
Talk users, just to clarify,
Yeah,
just one of them.
yeah. And Eclectically Me does another one, and then there's the Hot Topics one. I haven't seen that in a while. I don't know if I'm following them. Every time I lose an account, it takes me a while to follow people. I just started following Mr. James again, but that's just because I don't remember every time I lose an account who I'm following.
Um, I'm
Also, I don't know if y'all noticed. This is my main account. I got access. I got access to it back. I figured out how to sign into it. It's the one it's the one with 2K, not the one with like 1K real followers, but 8,000 fake ones that TikTok gave me for some
Yeah.
reason.
Uncle Birch 2 is still out there floating around. I can't get into it. They say I'm still suspended, but it's there. It's still getting followers and shit. I don't know. They're watching my
Yeah,
old.
this account was never banned. I just lost access to it because it's being weird.
That's kind of what happened with Uncle Birch 2.
Yeah.
My passwords work, and I can't remember what email I used to set the account up in the first place, and what phone number, what Google phone number I used to set it up. But like I always say, don't hate the player, hate the game. This is just part of the game. Losing accounts often for other
My
people.
my OG,
yeah.
my original account, my very first account, is gone, deleted. I think that was now. I suspect that was a mass report campaign by Bayou Bruja and maybe a few other people.
Sounds legit.
So
Yeah, they tried me a couple times. But most of mine, at least 3 of my accounts were lost by the Christians, organized Christians attacking. Once they discovered witch talk, it became a real issue for a few months there, and I got mass reported on 3 accounts by crazy Christians,
yeah,
which that's a badge of
yeah,
honor right
it's
there.
always yeah. You're right. It's always fucking her. And I was following her until relatively recently when I realized just how fucked up she was. Um,
Well,
yeah, no, do not associate with Bayou Bruja. Do
no,
not.
no. So Mr. James definitely thinks that it wasn't Armid Sage. I don't really even know who Armid Sage is or why they would be involved in that, but I did see his
Hold on.
tweet about that.
Little bit of correction there. It's not that I don't think that it's Ahmed. Ahmed and I are in each other's pockets every day.
Okay.
We are on the phone for hours a day. She is my best friend in this world. if she was going to, she would tell me because I'd be in on it with her because that is the kind of, she's my ride or die. So it's not that I don't think that Emma didn't. I know. I also know this woman runs a business. She has twins. She has a son. She is working her ass off writing books day and night. She doesn't have time to do this mass reporting bullshit. Now, if it was someone who, you know, wasn't, who did not have a job, who did not have kids, who had time, who lived their whole life on TikTok, understandable. But that's the other thing. Emma doesn't live her whole life on TikTok, unlike a lot of other people.
Well, I don't
See, I
think it was
think,
her, but the accusation was she used a bot, so that would free up a lot of time.
but you see, that's the thing. Now the accusation of the bot has disappeared, though, because they say bot, 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 and then suddenly they stop saying bot.
Oh.
I haven't heard bot in the
I'm not
last 2
paying
days about it,
attention.
actually.
It's like,
That
where are they
discussion's
doing it?
disappeared. It's now just let's attack, because now there are comments from people saying that, oh, Ahmed's crazy. Oh, Ahmed has mental problems. Oh, Ahmed's arrogant. When really that just sounds like a fucking projection from other people.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no,
Airman,
Ursa,
uh,
I wasn't talking about their situation. I said I think my account is probably Bayou Bruja.
Airmid has me blocked, but she, can always unblock me and jump up in one of these boxes if she wants to talk about it.
Yeah. Like, I think the other thing as well is that's just kind of testament. Ahmed has a lot of people blocked because she is the kind of person that blocks and moves on.
Uh-huh.
Like, if she doesn't agree, she will generally block and move on. It's not that she doesn't like the person, but she'd just rather stay away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we always tell other people to do. We always just scroll on. And she does that.
Magic of the Isles, unless that happened recently, I went from my other account, and Airmid's account is still active. I was just there today, so I don't think she deleted her account. Maybe she blocked you too, but I had to look.
She deactivated her main account.
When was that? Because I just checked probably noonish.
I spoke to her yesterday.
Yeah,
So
3 to
I'm
4
not
days
sure.
ago.
I just saw it
But
today. It's weird.
yeah, she's thinking about reactivating, but she's also, as anyone would be, nervous because I'd just like to remind everyone, we've also been through this before. We've been through this with those other people that are accusing us now. Do you all remember when, I don't want to say her name 3 times, she might appear. Do you all remember when ASM, and then I said, I have bots to get her attention onto me so she would stop attacking my family and my witch family, right? And so this whole thing came through, and this whole thing has happened before. And I also said, I'm the 5, so she would stop attacking Karen and Ahmed and Enigmatic Witch, right? So we've been through this, bots things. We've been through this. We went through the recordings where all of our private conversations were recorded. We've never properly healed from that because we haven't been able to, because it's been drama after drama after drama after drama after drama. But unfortunately, witch talk is like a drug. And we're all addicted.
That's what
Whether we
keeps
like
us.
to
Hold
say
on,
we are
who
or
is
we
this?
aren't.
I have to say something. Who is this fucker who comments who like really, really wants to see someone's baby? This shit is
Yeah, I
weird.
know. The
What is
mods
that?
need to block
I keep
him.
seeing that. Okay, I'll
Like
block
Hey
him.
why
guys,
like
I gotta go. I got hungry men waiting to be fed, so I'm gonna go cook supper. Mwah. Love ya.
Nana, I want some of your
Bye.
homemade food one day.
Thanks for
like
jumping in.
why
Gummy time. Gummy time. Gummy time.
this shit's creepy.
Yeah,
But
I was wondering. I kept seeing the thing about the baby, but I thought there was a
Show us
conversation.
your baby, show us your baby, and they keep saying no, and they're like, no, we want to see the baby. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah, she's obsessed with a creator that's not here and their baby, which is it's just disgusting. She needs to stop.
Zero followers? Okay, bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. All right, that one's gone. I
That
hope that was
shit's
a real one.
weird.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Look, I have to get ready for work because it's 7 o'clock here. But I just wanted to put out my final say on the live about this whole thing. People are seeing the video that I made. Well, the video that Karen stitched that I made, and they're saying, "Are you saying that? Is James saying that Karen is disgusting and Karen doxed Ahmed?" No. Go and watch my video. I'm not saying that whatsoever.
I don't even
But
think you named anybody, Mr. James. I
I
think
didn't.
yeah, I was going to say I watched that and I don't think you named anybody.
I didn't because I'm not that bitch. I went and spoke to that person in DMs, but I did not name them so a witch hunt could come get them because I'm not that person. Exactly. Magic of the Isle. That is what I'm not saying Karen doxed anybody. Literally, I'm not saying that.
A real
Yo, come on, listen to the words I'm saying. Anyway, please understand that we have tried our best, the two of us, to bring a sense of community. Ever since I've joined WitchTok, I have tried my best to bring education, healing, togetherness. Ahmed has tried to bring education and togetherness and fun. All of this stems from friendships that have simply gone in the opposite directions that have been fueled by other people for some agenda. Because at the end of the day, none of us wish hatred upon Karen. None of us wish hatred upon Sarah. None of us wish hatred upon anyone that we've come across. We just want to go on and live our best Witch Talk lives, but somehow we're dragged into this fucking drama again, and it's going to be enough for everyone to one by one go, fuck this shit, see ya. Magic of the Isles, I'm not going to do that. This is literally, oh my god, y'all. Okay, Magic of the Isles, I don't know who you are, but you're
Come
literally not
on.
picking up on the
Say
vibe.
it. Say it.
No.
Say
I,
it.
why would I do that when I just said I don't want to be in this drama?
Well, Mr. James, what I will say is I love Armid. I've always loved Armid. I always will, and I miss her, and that's all I have. Like,
Yeah,
I genuine. Of course, you know that I actually genuinely mean that. So
I do.
I get no say here.
No, I do. And I mean, that's. Oh, you're Black Pegasus. Oh, hello, darling. But yeah, that's the thing. I, appreciate everything. I think one thing that we just are struggling with seeing is when people just get away with letting the bad behavior happen, if that makes sense. Because it happens constantly. We support this person, we support that person, but we seem to forget that they are hurting other people constantly. They're hurting mutual friends constantly. And no, I'm not asking anyone to say anything to them about it, but have that understanding that that is a very real part of what's going on. And just have some compassion, I guess.
Well, I think one of the
Yeah.
prime directives in my tradition is do good things and don't be a dick. If I find one of my students being a dick, I will not have your back. Other ones that aren't being a dick, somebody comes at them, I'll have their back because those are my kids. But
Yeah.
most of them aren't dicks, like Zephyr and Spirit Witch. Neither one of you are dicks.
I'm
All
not
right.
a
Well,
dick. I'm not. I'll tell you, I'm not a dick until a Christian comes onto one of my lives to fuck with me.
That's
I
Then
was
fine.
gonna say,
I will report
That,
every single one of their videos.
that doesn't count as being
And
a dick. That's a response.
I didn't think you had TikTok anymore, Zephyr.
Like I always say, no, not dictate my response. And when I
yeah, I was
burn
gonna say,
their
I've only
crops
seen,
and salt their soil, they don't get to complain about it. So
I've only seen
the
Zeph
Christian
really
attack
be a
you. I mean,
really be a
the
dick to
ultimate
Christians.
in
who?
witchcraft. We get this this Wiccan read in the threefold law from Wicca, and the actual origins, I think, of the threefold law are from the Gospel of Adadia. Came out in the 1800s or something like that. And she said, when a priest shall have done you harm, you shall do him 3 times the harm, and do it in the name of me, who am queen of all witchery. So the first time I see the linguistics that seem to be associated with the threefold law, it's a threefold law of retribution against the church. And
It's strange
that I
though.
can get behind.
I
hold on.
so
I've got
so
a
I
super fun fact. I've got a super fun fact about threefold law in Christians. I'm so sorry because I do have to run.
Okay.
Let me just quickly get in here. Um, the okay. So the Christians, in order to take ownership of the threefold law, they actually turned it into the threefold cord in Ecclesiastes because the threefold cord is not easily broken. That's what they did to change from the threefold law into threefold cord. That's all. Fun fact of the day.
That's interesting too. All right.
It's
Next.
interesting though. In every so I've even checked multiple publications of Aradia Birch, and in every one I can find, she says you will deliver unto them twice the harm. She says twice or 2 times.
You might be right. It's been a million years.
But I agree, and I have heard other people, like traditional craft people, say that that was the original intent of the threefold law, was that it was a law of retribution. So I don't know, but
As an Italian, I'm probably going to go with that. And being that it's an Italian text, that's probably what it meant.
right, yeah.
Well, hey, y'all, I got to go too. It's been a long broadcast. I think we did some important stuff out here today. Covered some important issues. I don't know. So when that happens, in a couple hours, this will be up on YouTube. So if you're not following me on YouTube, I think there's a little play button next to my profile. You hit that, it'll take you over to my YouTube channel, where I tend to post these lives when we do something important. I post a live over there. Again, my July 2023 class, level 1, is open. And again, go over to my profile, hit the link tree, go to classes, you find the class, make sure you're signing up for July 2023, or you're in the wrong class. And I want to say one more thing while we still got everybody in here, for you to all be the first to know, level 3 Witch School will launch September 1st, 2023. Now I have said it, and now I will have to make it happen.
Hey, Uncle Birch,
Yes.
the troll is back. The one with
Baby
no
person's
profile
back.
asking about Coco's baby again. Now, mind you, like
What?
I've
You got
already
to
sent
block
these
What are they?
screenshots to Coco so she
Are they a
knows.
P
But
word or something? What's going on?
yeah,
Can
I'm
I just
worried.
add something when
Yeah,
you're done? I'll say
Let me
something.
block this fucker. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't say anything back then because, as you guys know, me and Mr. James, we are like Mr. James. Don't have don't have a problem with any of them. I just want to be left alone, to be honest, and that's the reason I didn't speak when Mr. James was on. But the fact is, I didn't set up that page. Had nothing to do with that page. And I just, I'm sick of the rumors. I'm sick of the he said, she said, and that's pretty much, why I keep to myself. I do my own thing now. I don't put anything on my page about people. Well, besides doing WitchTok News, which I try to make it as positive as possible nowadays. But the thing is, like, I do my own thing. I keep to myself. I don't talk to people. And that's the reason, because things get misconstrued, they get changed, and everything gets twisted and stuff like that. But I just want to put it out there. I'm not the one who did that page. It's nothing to do with me.
Okay. Well, thanks for clearing
But
it
yeah.
up.
Eclectically me, do you run an IG too, right? Like,
yes.
I think I follow you on IG. I'm pretty positive I do.
Yes,
And if
you
I don't
do.
follow...
I think you do.
Yes, I'm gonna follow you here.
I should also mention I'm on Threads now, same name as Instagram.
I am too. I signed up
really
for
easy to set
Threads
up.
today on my break at work, actually.
It took like 2 seconds to set that up. It integrates from Instagram. It was
Yeah,
really easy.
it's part of the it's the accounts are the same. Yeah.
So if y'all
I
can
have
keep from
YouTube
getting
now
banned,
too.
that'd be great. Because I followed both of you, Zeph and Bert, on every single account that you have ever had, and I swear to God, if you people keep getting banned, and I have to keep finding freaking accounts.
Well, I've only ever had one account banned. I have lost accounts because I'm an idiot and I forget passwords and things. I have to do a bunch of horse shit to get them back. But I've only been banned once.
Okay, Violet's on Threads. Okay, follow me. I did the thing where I automatically integrated my contacts, so hopefully I'm already following you too. But yeah, I'm on Threads now. Twitter.
I think I follow you, Zeph. Yeah, I follow you on Clapper, I think, and on TikTok.
So I am no longer on Clapper, and I know that I've said on Clapper before that I was done with TikTok, and now I'm back here, so it's confusing as all hell. But basically, I got fed up with the demographics on Clapper. There are far too many fucking evangelical Christians, and not nearly enough of us. So I'm not fucking around with Clapper anymore. But
Clapper's a cool platform, but yeah, we need more witches over there. I'm still on Clapper. I just haven't posted in a while.
Yeah, I'm on Clapper too. I'm on Clapper, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I've got a Facebook group.
I think I've got oh God, what is that thing the kid uses? Discord. I got a Discord. I think it's in my profile.
Discord is the best place for people to reach me to actually have a one-on-one interaction with me if they want that. If anyone wants my Discord, I can give them in DMs or whatever. But I do have that.
Clapper is like a cheaper version of TikTok. It doesn't have all the features that TikTok has, and plus it doesn't have all the witches, obviously, and a lot of it is just normal people putting videos of their day-to-day things and silly things up. But it doesn't have like a lot of the features that you have, like to edit videos and stuff like that. Like TikTok has. It's just basic.
I will probably make a Discord server at some point in the near future because all of my close friends who are on here, everyone in Zephyr's inner circle of trust, if you will, already has me on Discord, and we've talked in DMs and everything. I will probably make a server at some point.
All right. Well, follow mine in the link tree, and then I'll follow you back. I gotta go, y'all.
Alrighty.
Thanks for coming in, the Brady Bunch of Witches. Good to see you. And, I'll try and schedule ahead of time next time I'm going to do it. Probably over the weekend. I'll probably do another live. But hopefully see you all there.
Let's go. See you.
Blessed be, everybody.